Thank you for joining us for Beauty and the Beast Media Club, a full spoiler discussion into a piece of media. When those spoilers find you, they'll definitely shoot their shot. As always, if you enjoy what we do, please give us a like and join the discussion in the comments or at our Discord. We're available at many of your favorite services with a full list at beardyandthebeast.com. My name is Drew, and of course, as always, Batby's very own chum, Dev.
I don't remember the references anymore.
Well, there's one thing you do remember, and that is we are currently being joined with one of our favorite guests. He's an artist, a filmmaker, author, and a pretty neat lady. Ashley Good.
I thought you were going to say like a burgeoning alcoholic, but no, I'm not.
One should not throw stones in glass houses, Ashley.
Alberta really, yeah. It gets
Oh, say it.
I just love that it's like 35 degrees right now. It smells like a campfire outside. The US is imploding. It feels like the world's ending. And we're sitting here to discuss one of my all-time favorite movies, Strange Wilderness. I couldn't be happier.
That's right. Today we will be discussing 2008's adventure comedy, Strange Wilderness. So, Ashley, was this film Happy Madison, or was it just shark bait?
Up until 2 weeks ago when I rewatched this, I thought it was firmly in my all-time top 3. But upon rewatching it, I realized that the majority of the cast has become so annoying in real life that it has actually tainted the movie for me. So if I watch it through the lens of nostalgia, it is still a brilliant work of art. But if I watch it with a modern lens, I'm like, oh, all these people suck. But the ending's still epic.
There is a point in some pieces where it becomes very difficult to divorce the artist from the art.
Yeah.
I was never the biggest Limp Bizkit fan, but when their guitarist left, they did auditions all across the US for a replacement artist to play, and you had to play a unique riff of your own, and Limp Bizkit owned that riff in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I wasn't keen on them now, and now I just outright dislike them. Plus, Taproot was awesome before frickin' Fred Durst got a hold of him. Anyways.
I have a note here about the movie. I wrote Strange Wilderness cast. Wow, I can't even speak right now. Hang on. Taking some water. I'm sorry. You can consider this ASMR. Strange Wilderness cast is the perfect ensemble of actors who were once hilarious and have since become insufferable, or people who have disappeared completely. That's how I would sum it up.
I think that's pretty apt. At some point, they had a funny, and now they do not. I had a lot of trouble with the entire film. I wasn't vibing it. My big thing was like my favorite part of the film is when they finally eliminated Peter Dante from it, and they just like sharked him like a third of the way through. I'm like, I am glad this guy's gone. He was actually having a negative impact on my enjoyment of this film.
I couldn't tell if I just wasn't in the mood to watch the film or if I didn't like it. And having stewed on it a bit, I have to lean to the latter option. I don't know, like, I know a lot of these people were people that were considered funny, but I mean, I've never really been a big fan of them. Like, little bits and pieces and roles, so that wasn't enough to carry it. And personally, I found that there wasn't enough of the things that were like genuinely funny that I could have watched a lot of. Like, I could have watched so much of those bad animal clips. But then the movie happened and it's kind of like, okay, this is a thing.
I wish you had watched it 5 years ago, because before the world went to hell and everybody became super annoying, because I swear at one point it was hilarious. You know how actors can have, the good actors have they have that star power. this is like the perfect example of how a cast can all have it and then lose it, whatever it is. They have all lost it. Perhaps Jonah Hill could still carry a drama, but I mean, he was one of my favorite actors for the longest time, and he's gotten so annoying.
So, from my side, to give you an idea of where I'm feeling with this movie, and I don't think watching it 5 years ago would have changed my mind. I also think Anchorman is a terrible movie.
What?
I can't stand it.
You need to fight me right now.
We will both fight, Devon.
It's not a format that works for me. Like,
so if I say I'm riding the furry tractor, Ron, that doesn't elicit any laughter from you? I Love Lamp doesn't evoke anything? Devon,
So we're into normal
get it
furries,
together.
not tractors.
So a big thing that I find, like Will Ferrell, I really liked his sketch work. I don't find he carries a movie well because I find it's just a bunch of sketches as opposed to there being any type of plot or movement happening. And that's actually something that I felt with this film. They were going between scenes. They would set up things to throw it away immediately, so there was never any payoffs for anything. You set up here's this antagonistic wilderness guy who never shows up again. Oh, let's have Robert Patrick's character there. They'll do something, but it was resolved like immediately. And by resolved, I mean a throwaway line and never looked at and explored.
I've watched this movie like 20 times, and I only just realized that the one guy never comes back again. You're right; he doesn't come back.
Yeah. Like. It's just I found lots of little bits like that, so it felt like a bunch of sketches that weren't exactly the best written sketches. And I can tell you, I was super distracted by the fact of the one continuity error that I noticed, and that was the tattoos on the eyes.
Well, but then there's also like a part where Jonah Hill's character walks away and he's just staring at the side of the RV. I mean, that's the movie. The movie is they're clearly all really high. Like, the actors they must have been at the time when they made this. And then they just had fun. And I used to think, and still kind of think, that it translates well to film.
I think, I genuinely think that you might have a good time with The Little Hours.
You know what? I watched it for 10 minutes.
That's kind of how I felt about this film.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was just like
No.
I didn't feel the chemistry. The jokes weren't quite landing, and it didn't have Mikuchi to
carry it along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shark laughing, I did nothing for you.
Wait, the shark laughed?
When they're the video and they're like, "Oh, I'm a shark" or whatever. Ho, ho, ho,
Oh no.
Oh, actually,
I liked that stuff. Like I could have watched like an hour of just those really bad voiceovers of the animal footage. Absolutely could have watched that, but we had like 3 scenes of that and then kind of nothing.
I really did enjoy the Step Family song and the Jonah Hill singing parts. His talking was insufferable, but when he had the guitar, it was just gold.
Yeah.
Like when he calls somebody a prehistoric gentleman bird. I miss that Jonah Hill. I miss comedic Jonah Hill so much. And I liked back then being able to be like, he's also a talented actor, right? And then he'd bust out like a really good performance. And I could be like, oh, see, Jonah Hill's awesome. And now, like, he knows he's awesome, and he's just really annoying, and I can't be his cheerleader anymore. Am I an asshole? I don't know. I think I'm just sick of Hollywood types. And you know exactly what I mean when I say that.
I really liked Jonah Hill in the it was the Lord of War sequel.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That was a good one.
Yeah, I found his
Gods of War.
Yeah.
That was so good.
I really enjoyed his performance there. And And honestly, Superbad. Like, I know a lot of people don't like that film, but there's also a lot of people who do. And I'm like, he was,
I love Superbad.
aside from the premise being, I need to get this girl drunk so I can take advantage of her, that film was actually quite good.
But that was realistic, damn it. It was the 2000s. Stop trying to erase our history. I'm a millennial that grew up in the 2000s. Let me have my heritage. Everything was slut-shamey, and you had to watch your drinks, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Oh my god, I hope I really, really hope my sarcasm is translating right now.
Make sure you cut out that part, Drew.
Always the context, just snip, snip, snip. Actually, you know what? I think the last third of the film was definitely far stronger than the first 2/3 of it. I think we actually started getting humor beats, appropriate callbacks. Things were actually beginning to progress.
I would agree. I think part of it is like if we look at like a 20-minute chunk, it's like this could have been an episode of a TV show. It did have enough of the beats between the the antagonists and the protagonists. So it was a little bit better. And again, gave the appropriate callback at least to the the meeting with the execs and such.
I mean, the ending though, like that didn't win you guys over.
Oh no, I'm saying like it was strong ending, strong like final third.
Yeah, there's definitely scenes that I enjoyed.
I just
looking
feel
at the whole package.
I genuinely thought you would laugh at this. I have convinced so many people over the years to watch this movie, and now I'm wondering if I should feel guilty for that. I'm also wondering if I'm responsible for the film's super low IMDb score, because everybody I told to watch it went out and was like 0, 0, 0.
No. The IMDb score is like 5.2. The Metacritic, on the other hand, that one's like 12.
Pity Party is doing slightly better than Strange Wilderness.
Yes.
Just putting that out there. Yeah,
as the
but
person
I
who
did
carries
a similar.
The film.
Yeah, I know you stole the show with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually talked about that at work today.
You were the Jonah Hill of Pity Party. Wait, this came up at work.
It was a whole thing. I just like that's my job, to show people your short films.
Thank you. I need all the views I can get. I really want to hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. I'm trying. Check out my AI pop songs.
Are you still doing
vlogs? I'm just kidding. What?
Still doing vlogs?
I did one.
What's your website?
Oh God, I was just.
Tell me your socials.
I was joking. God.
But I mean, you that's why you come on podcast, to shell.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, I
mean, we're going to show whenever we're on yours, okay?
I am planning on starting a new podcast, but I don't know. I get annoyed with the censorship laws, and I'm not really sure what I can say to be a podcaster in Canada.
Do it anonymous. You'll be fine.
So, where did this movie fall into your tops since on the rewatch? And was it just because of the insufferability that you find with the actors now, or were there other aspects to it?
I think it's still firmly in my top 10, maybe even top 5, but I just have such a strong nostalgic attachment to it that I can't emotionally separate myself from that to be objective, which kind of sucks. Like, Steve Zahn has just gotten so annoying that trying to watch him be funny just felt like, I don't know, it almost felt dystopian. Like, oh, he's acting like a human here, but we all know he's dead on the inside.
I'm gonna be honest, I had no idea who he was.
Yeah.
I don't think I had ever seen him before in my life.
I'm looking at the movies, and apparently he's a bad ape in more of Planet of the Apes or something.
Is he? Oh my god. I just remembered a dream I had like 15 years ago. I'm not even kidding. I dreamt a long time ago when this movie, like shortly after it came out, that I met Steve Zahn and I said, "Oh, I loved you in Strange Wilderness," and he was really mean to me, and he said nobody loves Strange Wilderness.
Oh, so you knew then.
I did. Well, I knew everybody hated it when it came out, but I've been a champion for a long time.
Prime hipster Ashley right here. You guys just don't get it.
I'm not entirely convinced that I'm not going to meet Steve Zahn one day and not have the opportunity to say this to him and make this happen. Sometimes I set myself up. I'll set myself up for opportunities just so I can like have a funny moment down the road. Like one time, my husband and I went to his Christmas party, and there was like fortune tellers.
Yeah.
And I waited in line just to get my fortune read, just so I could one day say, just like the gypsy lady said.
Good work. I'm proud.
I'm not sure I should admit that, but you need content. So
you guys just don't get it. This film's cerebral. It's like the art of self-defense.
I can say
I don't think I've seen a single movie that Steve Zahn has been in. I have no idea who this guy is.
I could just become like the lady Andrew Tate, but all I preach about is how good Strange Wilderness is and why everybody needs to get their lives together and watch Strange Wilderness and slap bitches or whatever he talks about. I don't know.
I'm not actually sure what he talks about. I'm pretty sure everything I've ever heard about him has been a lie.
Probably.
That includes from his own face, too.
Yeah, probably.
Like, kind of bringing it back to the film, it's weird how a small thing can kind of taint it. So the first thing I saw was the Happy Madison Productions thing, and I groaned, and it was like, all right, this is what I'm in for. Because it's been so long since I've seen a good Happy Madison, and honestly, what's his name?
Sandler?
Yes, I haven't seen a good Sandler film in like ages.
Uncut Gems? I mean, he didn't produce that, write it.
I wonder if there's been a good Sandler film.
Uncut Gems. I'm saying it right now. So good.
I always enjoyed The Wedding Singer. that was him, wasn't it? Yeah.
We're just glossing over the fact that apparently Drew has not seen or hates Uncut Gems.
I've never heard of this film before in my life.
Are you kidding me?
This is not a Korean reality TV show. I have never heard of it before.
Oh my god, Uncut Gems. Now that's a movie. It is anxiety in film form.
Oh, it's an A24.
It's so good. I had a panic attack watching it from the music. I'm like, why is my heart going? I was also on a bunch of steroids because apparently I think I had like the early COVID before the pandemic started by a month. Quite an experience. This movie literally sent me to the hospital.
Okay, now that I've pulled it up, I think I've heard of this one. I think I've heard good things about it. But it's also not Happy Madison.
Fun fact, eye steroids is why I'm going blind.
Let's laugh at Drew's pain and misery.
Freaking Devon does constantly.
All the time.
It's got Julia Fox. Maybe I look at this. I mean, Punch Drunk was all right.
Yeah.
It's such a good movie, Drew. You'd really like it. And not in the way that I thought you would like Strange Wilderness. I thought this would be a cheap laugh.
I know what my aversion to it is. I think this is a stoner film, and stonerism what is like, it's a big part of my past, but it's not something that has come along with me, and I feel a resentment to it. So it's very well that this is probably like tainted my thoughts on this type of film.
You know, that could be part of it too. Like, because again, like my first thought was I'm not in the mood for this for some reason, and I haven't really watched much in the way of stoner films. It's not. I've never been, so it's never captured my attention. Like the only stonerish film that I've ever really enjoyed was Wayne's World. So that could be part of it. That could have changed how the film was. Or if I was like Game on Drew Day and just pounding back the beers.
Honestly, that's very like honest reflection on both of your parts, and you're probably onto something. I, however, have the humor of a 14-year-old boy, but also of like a 60-year-old boomer. So it's. I was actually talking the other day about what I find.
Well, we can't see that on film.
Pretty much. Ha boob joke, but make eye contact. Actually talking yesterday about the types of movies I still enjoy because so much has just been wrecked for me over the years, and I enjoy stupid comedies and dramatic character-driven pieces. Those are the two things. That's where I'm at. So I don't know if you guys watched that Paul Giamatti movie, The Holdovers. I think that's what it was called. It's Paul Giamatti. That's all I really need to say. It's one of those movies. I'm like, I loved that. And I like Strange Wilderness. I like Woody Allen. And I like early Adam Sandler. But like, not really a lot of middle ground.
I think that's part of it. So like, when I'm thinking of comedy, like, I tend to like the action comedy, and I do like a lot of like the earlier Adam Sandler films too. What I feel like this movie here was missing again, and I said it before, it was when we talk about the action comedies, or we talk about like the early Adam Sandler films, there is a through line in the plot. It's not just a bunch of like little things that could have been a quick 5-minute digital short type thing. And I think for me, when I'm watching a film, I want to be able to have some sort of through line a bit better than what was here.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, even though there were parts of the film that made me laugh, it didn't increase my perception of it as a movie.
Have you seen Grandma's Boy?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Was that when the guy lives in the Costco? Or not, works in the Costco and... No, this is a different film.
No, but I've seen that movie that you're talking about. There's a guy and his daughter, and they get a job at Costco, and then they rob it or something. It's like an Indian movie.
No, this is the Dane Cook one.
Oh no, I'm talking about a really niche. Okay, no, I'm too cool for your reference. I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
Did you just call Dane Cook niche?
No, my film that I was referencing.
Oh, okay.
It was like Evan Rachel Wood was a teenager and somebody else. But yeah, no.
Dane Cook was the biggest bro comedian on the planet.
For the record, hated Dane Cook when he came out. I was like, ugh.
That's because he didn't actually have a punchline.
Maybe that's what it was. But I like Dane Cook.
I love Dane Cook too, but he doesn't have punchlines. When you actually listen to his stuff, it is all just his inflection.
But
which isn't bad.
Grandma's Boy was okay. The guy that's in this movie, I forget the actor's name because he's only ever in Happy Madison movies, and I don't think anybody knows his name. He's in this one. He has the beard and the wig. And then an actor that looks like John Heder from Napoleon Dynamite, but wasn't John Heder. Was like the antagonist. But they're working at a gaming company. They're just game testers. Oh, and it had, what's his face? Oh my god, probably gonna die of alcoholism. Sorry, that's bad, but like, it's honest. He was in Reno 911. Nick... Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Nick...
You know, Thinner Jonah Hill is actually kind of handsome.
Is Nick Swanson a name?
Nick Swartzen?
Nick Swartzen. Oh my god. Yeah.
I have no idea who this is. I just happened to look at the IMDb for it.
Wait, you don't know who Nick Swartzen was funny too before I don't know, he's like 50 now and he still does the same bits he did in his 20s. And it's really sad. But at the time, he was very funny. Anyway, Grandma's Boy. I haven't rewatched it in a long time, so I'm not sure if that would hold up either. I feel like it might be actually kind of cringe, but if you enjoyed that movie, I would know where you stood with comedies, but you have not seen it. So this tangent was for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it might be one of the things like the generational gap between us and you in either
Same
direction.
age.
It's like 20 years. Old lady. Um, I had nowhere to go with this joke. I just wanted to suggest that you're very old.
Oh, that's thanks. Sorry, I was like, oh, at least you're calling me young, but no.
Well, yeah. So like, comedies are a very hard thing to review. I know Drew and I have talked about this before when we picked with some of the films that we've done that were like pure comedy, because comedy is subjective. Like, again, as Drew mentioned earlier, Little Hours. Drew thought that movie was fantastic. I thought it was. Well, we made me the donkey in the thumbnail for that for a reason.
He was being an ass. And like you couldn't get 10 minutes into it, right? So
yeah. Right. We have other ones like was it the Losers?
Yeah, Losers.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love that. Yeah, like that one was good. Loved that.
It's because it was a story that, like a full story that just happened to be comedic in nature, right?
Exactly.
Rather than the comedy trying to be the third point.
Yeah. Because it's just not enough for me. Like Ms. said with Will Ferrell. I enjoy Will Ferrell's shorts. I enjoy his dramatic stuff. I don't like the comedy films because I just don't feel that through line. It just takes me out of it.
Oh, the other guys was so good though.
The other guys is
Did you like Night of the Roxbury?
I haven't seen it.
I enjoyed Night of the Roxbury.
You haven't seen it, Drew.
Oh, you'd be surprised at what I haven't seen.
Well, perhaps you need to have another 6 beer and watch.
If it's not a YouTube channel of some Spanish girl who just goes camping and there's no words at all, there's just her setting up a tent and making dinner, I probably haven't seen it.
That is very specific.
What was the Korean girls that you watch for that?
No, that's the reality TV shows that I watch.
Ah, my bad. Oh, and Japanese dudes building cabins in the wood.
Yes, that's really good.
Those are fun.
I did write down one note and I can't remember where it was from, but for some reason I wrote down the words, the 90s want its Nicole Ricci joke back.
Oh, because there was like a stick or something. Well,
they made a Nicole Ricci joke, and I'm like, no one watching this film except for me knows who that is.
She's still a thing, but now she does like mom content on Instagram. It's so weird to me that the twins from Good Charlotte are both married to celebrities and have these full lives and everything. The world's weird.
I think twins are weird in general. Calling you out, twins.
That's right. You're on notice, twins.
I'm coming for you. There's only one of you.
There's a serial killer out there that only takes out
one twin.
Oh, there's a movie idea. And to tie this back to our earlier conversation about Jonah Hill's acting, he did a movie with James Franco like 7-8 years ago, where James Franco played this guy convicted of murder, and Jonah Hill's interviewing him. Forget what it was called now, but it was so good. It was so well acted. Such a good movie, and I don't think anybody other than me saw it.
Well, it's one of those things like we've talked about this a bunch in like our when we're talking about comedies. A lot of comedians and actors who start in entertaining roles do such good, like darker character driven pieces. Like Robin Williams is a huge one in that aspect, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these people who get into comedy are actually pretty like deep down dark inside and kind of damaged.
As we all laugh and then start cutting ourselves. I
wish that your kiss might kill me. So why don't you kiss me so I'm not happy?
I think another thing with the comedic actors in serious roles, again, there's like the darkness aside, because I'm sure not all comedians are, that depressed. It's a timing thing. You still need to know how to time an emotional beat, which I think can make a big difference in a dramatic role.
Actually, speaking of actors that were comedic and then became a bit more serious, James Franco, another actor who was funny and like peaked when Strange Wilderness was coming out and has since been canceled, like most of its cast. He did a movie with Jason Statham. I can't remember the name. I want to say Homefront. Again, another movie that nobody else seemed to have watched. But it's Jason Statham. James Franco's playing a meth head. And it was really good. And you get to see Jason Statham just beat up a bunch of meth heads. So I don't know, maybe that's problematic now, but I thoroughly liked the movie.
I've
seen that Homefront movie.
Did you like
look it up to see? Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
We all know James Franco peaked at Spider-Man.
It's true. I agree.
What was he? He was the Green Goblin, wasn't he?
Yeah.
No, he was the Green Goblin's son. And he kind of came back as a goblin, but they never actually made him the Green Goblin. I thought they were going to call him the Hobgoblin instead because, ruining movies or ruining characters.
I'm just surprised. Like Hollywood just cut him out so fast. And yet, I think he was still in one of those Biden endorsement videos before, Biden stepped down. I just saw a montage and saw all the celebrities being like, vote for Biden or whatever. And I'm like, is that James Franco? How is he still... Really? They wanted his endorsement. Huh, interesting.
I mean, he's never an actor that I really followed. I agree with Drew. He peaked in Spider-Man.
Oh,
the only thing I care about. Again, not the style. Again, he's done a lot of those stoner type movies and such that just doesn't interest me.
Honestly, I'll tie this back to my problematic jokes that I was making in the beginning that you're probably going to cut out and just really make me seem unhinged. I've had too many conversations, several conversations that I did not start, where drunk women were talking about how James Franco did not deserve to be canceled. Then
what did he do?
Conversations went from there. Oh, well, his whole thing was he became a professor and then he slept with some of his students. But,
I mean,
they were all consenting and they were adults, so.
I mean, was he teaching them at the time?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
But why else do you sign up for a James Franco acting class?
I mean, I don't...
It wasn't during class, Drew. It wasn't on stage in class.
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's cancelable, but I definitely don't think a teacher should sleep with his students.
Oh, we can agree it's icky. I'm just saying this is what other people have said. So it's
he's teaching.
Hollywood will be like, this person's canceled, but then normies will be like, but why?
I think this is a lot I think a lot of what you see by canceling is really a case of how there always seems to be a double standard. Like, this person did something similar and they're not getting canceled. I think it's because subject A is actually a big jerk, just a giant a-hole, and does the same thing as a pretty easy to work with person. And they're really just using it as an excuse to oust the person that no one likes.
Okay, so James Franco was probably a huge hoe, but also a jerk. Whereas Mark Wahlberg, blinded that man. But maybe he's a nice guy.
Maybe it's Marky Mark.
Wait, Marky Mark blinded a man?
You not know this?
Yeah, no. I have no idea what he's talking about. What he's talking about either.
Really? Wow, no. I right before he became famous, he I think he blinded a Vietnamese man.
Oh yeah, but that would have been in the
80s. That's what they did for fun back in the 80s. It was a different time. Drugging chicks and blinding Vietnamese men.
I want to make jokes about this is my Vietnam, and I just can't.
Yet she did anyway.
No, I implied there could be a joke there, but I did not make one.
I don't think the world is ever going to get more light on what is acceptable, but I would love to take all the naughty bits that I edit out of these casts with you, Ashley, and release them as one just like the cutting room
A
floor.
compilation video.
Don't worry, we are storing them. All of them.
I'm not successful enough to even be canceled. Let me have my success first and then come for me. Jeez.
Oh, so that's the goal. We'll help her
Yeah.
get famous so we can cancel her, Drew. Then we can become famous for canceling her.
But the thing is,
Yeah, there
she'll
you
be
go.
able to use that reverse fame to then tie herself with conservative-minded individuals and then have a resurgence on the other side.
Strange Wilderness movie. Yep. Let's read the back of the cover, shall we?
You know what? Okay, so I do have some stuff for Strange Wilderness. I'm gonna throw one negative thing out of the way. I hated that a guy pulled out a cell phone.
Part.
Hmm?
Which
It's
part?
like halfway in the middle movie, he pulls out like a modern cell phone, flip phone.
But it's a
And
modern movie.
but
I don't know. I couldn't tell when the movie took place.
it seemed to me
Timeless.
like they were intending for it to be like the 70s.
That's the feeling that I got too.
Okay, I can admit, if I made this movie, or if other independent filmmakers made this movie, we would be laughed at and insulted, and no one would work with us ever again. And that these people got a pass to make this movie because they were all famous at the time.
Well, so what I was saying is
There's no grand point there. I think I just...
I actually really enjoyed the cinematography, the color grading. Like there was a grittiness to the film that made it feel kind of VHS and kind of like
Yeah.
I'm watching something that is of an earlier piece. And
Like
that's what
now?
the Mutual of Omaha animal films that like it definitely did capture that feel. I agree.
and yeah, like it, and that's why it bugged me when Buddy pulled out the cell phone because the anachronism of it, it was just like, no, this doesn't have a stated time, but because of the film grain and stuff, it really makes me feel like I'm watching something like, you know, I got into grandma's old VHSs.
Another... Wow. I just can't speak, but you guys know this already. Another anachronism. Did I say that right?
I said it right for once in my life. I'm happy.
Yep.
I can write better than I can speak. Another anachronism would be the generic blonde actress that was shoehorned into the movie that looks like every other generic blonde actress shoehorned into every other Happy Madison movie. Seriously, there's a period of time from like 2000 to 2010 where every movie just had a different generic blonde woman. And it's not their fault. They're all fine. They give perfectly fine performances, and then they just get replaced. I don't know.
And they
who
made
this
sure
woman
to
is.
give her a topless scene.
Oh, usually. Not in this one, but usually, yeah.
Yeah.
There's another generic blonde woman in
She was
Grandma's
topless in that
Boy,
film.
and was
Yeah,
she?
she's topless.
Oh yeah.
She had
What? When?
she had pasties on. When they were all getting drugged up, she was riding some dude in the back room.
Yep.
I didn't even notice that. I've watched it so many times.
We're dude minded. We were like boobs.
Yep.
We were joking earlier, but like about me having the humor of a 14-year-old and a like 60-year-old boomer, where I'm like, haha, boobs, but I look up here. But maybe that's true. I just make eye contact all the time. I don't acknowledge boobs.
You probably have the boomerisms going. You're like doing drugs. That's a no. And you miss the unbridled like sex in the background.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, the scene where they're all like doing nitrous, I found much more relatable as a mother that had a child. The amount of nitrous I did when I was in labor would knock all of these people on their asses. You are welcome to include this in the show.
So my line for her too is, "What the hell was the point of her?"
But seriously, nitrous is great. That scene in the movie was great. Everybody should do nitrous. There we go. I genuinely believe I lost at least 10 IQ points giving birth. And if there's I know if there's anything that two men love listening to, it's their friend's birth story.
Congratulations!
Congratulations! It's literally the most amazing thing a person can do.
I am a goddess, a nitrous
The
huffing goddess.
Nitrous Goddess. That's the name of my next band, Nitrous Goddess.
Really epic, and you should use it.
So to get back on track,
Never.
our generic blonde girl.
Yes.
One of the reasons why I didn't like her is halfway through the film, she ceased having a point. She kind of faded into the background to becoming a yes woman to everything the other characters were saying.
But that's every generic blonde girl in all of those movies.
Well, usually the generic blonde girl at least is being used as some like sexual object in the film.
Play that quote back. At least she's usually being used as a sexual object, but in this case.
But isn't that better than not like having her and just being like, no, you're a side character without any lines except go guys, let's do it. Like,
yeah,
at least there was a reason in the other films for her to be, even though it was demeaning to women. It's a case of she had a purpose and it was relevant to the plot in the other films, but in this case, generic blonde girl. Oh no. That happened after she got topless. As soon as she got topless, she stopped having any lines and really had any uses in the film. This is terrible.
No, I'm pretty sure that I wrote down before she got topless that what the heck is the point of this character? She is doing literally nothing for the film.
I'm actually realizing during this conversation, I think Katherine Heigl in Knocked Up was the last generic blonde girl.
She was not generic. No, she was not generic blonde girl.
She wasn't. Sorry, I should clarify. She wasn't generic. She had a character and everything, but she complained about how she was just the nag in that movie. She didn't like that she was like the shrill counterbalance to Seth Rogen's character, and that's part of what ruined Katherine Heigl's career. It was like a whole thing. Oh, she.
Well, to be fair, Katherine Heigl got too up in her own ass from Grey's Anatomy and was trying to ride that too far.
But I'm saying. The trend of the generic blonde actress, I think, ended with Katherine Heigl in Knocked Up. I think that was the last time.
I'm not sure. I mean, again, generally the movies where they just tack in that type of character aren't the ones that I'm watching.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to say that. Like, Knocked Up, definitely not that. She got irritated because people wanted her to be that, and that's why she never appeared in anything else again afterwards. Again, I think she was just too high on herself, writing from Grey's Anatomy, and she didn't translate.
This is a petard situation.
Yeah.
A little high on them.
Hoisted a little too hard.
I've been present for this conversation.
Obviously. I think a lot of it too, it's like, I mean, horror movies do the same type of thing. You've always got the dumb blonde girl running in the wrong way. You know, thanks Scream for pointing that out. I don't know. And then there's like actors that took that and like, well, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to go make my own movies. Brittany? Britt Marling is an example of that. She was tired of everyone wanting to just cast her to be the dumb blonde girl in a horror movie. So she just went and made a bunch of her own movies and TV series and stuff.
That's awesome. Sorry, what's her name? I want to look her up.
Britt Marling? Yeah. I know I liked her movies for that type of thing. Because, I mean, there's definitely the trend of it, but yeah, again, most of the times, like, I see a reason for it.
And for the record, like for the listeners that might be misinterpreting what I'm saying, I am not trying to insult any actresses just because they're blonde. I don't think being a woman and being blonde inherently makes you generic. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying there was a trend in the movies in the early 2000s, primarily with Adam Sandler movies, where there would be a woman shoehorned in, like in not Happy Madison, like in Strange Wilderness, that doesn't contribute to the story, and she's just there because blonde and boobs. But you could take, now I'm actually forgetting her name, but the actress that was in Freaky was really good, and what was that the Blumhouse movie where the woman kept dying and it was like Groundhog Day.
Happy Death
Like,
Happy Death Day?
Happy Death Day. Yeah, the actress that was in Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You. Like,
Yeah.
she was great. Very charismatic. Carried the movie. I just don't know her name offhand. Jessica Rowe. But you could say, like, oh, generic blonde actress, but like she actually did a good performance and was funny and entertaining, so that wouldn't fall into the same category as these Happy Madison actresses.
Well, I mean, horror movies have always been a standard for that type of thing anyway. You have the character that looks that way and they turn it around very deliberately. You know, you can trace that back to the exploitation films way back, right? There's a reason why Final Girl is a trope.
Absolutely. Yeah, horror films and exploitation films were some of the first to deal with topics like, I mean, honestly, abortion and like prostitution, and they would actually handle these topics in a way that was more intelligent than a lot of movies would do nowadays. But do we have anything else to say about Strange Wilderness?
I was about to say I like 21 Jump Street, so the answer is I have nothing else to say about Strange Wilderness.
Could do 21 Jump Street. That wasn't terrible.
I think this falls into a category of comedies that have weird timings for me and don't jive. So the Napoleon Dynamites and The Art of Self-Defense is kind of how I felt. I see the appeal. It's stoner-minded. It's not for me. But I think everybody should check it out because you don't know until you've seen it, right?
I mostly agree. I think I can see what people would like in it. Didn't work for me. Again, as you said, much like Napoleon Dynamite. I can't. If the stoner type movie is the movie you like, yep, check it out. If you're like me and maybe give it a pass.
I think we live in a dying culture, and we should try to learn as much as we can about our history before it's too late. And Strange Wilderness is a perfect time capsule about what life was like in the 2000s, and we should hold on tightly to it and embrace it as much as we can before all humor is lost and we're telling stories around campfires the smoking radioactive backdrop.
Oh, what was that film? Freaking what was it? There's multiple timelines. It had the guy that kept saying the true.
Hot Tub Time Machine? The time traveling one with the guy from AI? Graham and I just watched one called Time Addicts, and it was literally about these junkies that are traveling through time, and it was an Australian movie.
I was thinking Cloud Atlas. Thank you very much.
See, there's so many of these movies.
This does make me want to do a cast with you, Ashley, with regarding the live action Scooby-Doo film.
I'm in.
Or alternatively, The Departed.
Oh, I'm in, but do you really want to waste my intellect on The Departed when I could be commentating on Scooby-Doo?
To be fair, I think Scooby-Doo may be the better one. Conversations go very different with Ashley.
I think Ashley would do great for The Departed.
For
the record, I do love Martin Scorsese, and I think it's an excellent movie. But
Departed is an excellent movie.
I wanted to bring it up when we were talking about like character-driven stuff. I was like, they're on a roll. I don't want to interrupt them with my plebeianism.
And it has Mark Wahlberg, so we could talk about how he blinded that man.
That's why he won specifically.
And that's why he wants you in it.
And now he's sponsored by a prayer app. Download Hallow today, and you can get on your Bible learning journey.
Use code Ashley at checkout
for your first month free of Hallow, because Jesus would want you to pay to do this. Ugh.
Right, I'm gonna end that there.